Hello viewers and welcome to an early morning match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today we've got a game taken from the top 8 single elimination portion of Sam Mann's Spring 2016 season of his Black Crusade. At the bottom of our screen we see our runner-up 2015 World Champion Seth Rosen's Urien Rakarth, and at the top we've got a player named vonfersen. So Octagon user vonfersen, he hails from Sweden. It's going to be a bit of a grudge match this morning versus the USA, and both of our players are currently deciding whether or not they want to take a mulligan or not. Seth does ditch his opening allotment of cards straight away, and vonfersen is still debating. Looks like Broderick Worr begins today's game with initiative. Planet number 1 is going to be Ossus 4, the Steel Resource planet, and so far as green planets are concerned, where Broderick Worr is at his strongest, we've got 1, 4, and 5. So 4 is going to be Planum, the Move, a non-Warlord unit planet. 5 is going to be Healing Iridial. 2 is going to be the wild card planet, Karnath, and last but not least, 3 is going to be Farron. And of course, any Astra Militarum faction units located at planets 1, 4, or 5 are going to be entirely immune to any kind of routing effects. Planet number 1, we've got Anxious Infantry Platoon, a very formidable combat presence. Urien is going to have to deal with a naturally possessing initiative outgoing attack value of 4, and in regard to what Seth has to use in his opening hand, he was actually lucky enough to come across his signature attachment and his signature support, as well as 2 really strong combat units and a couple of copies of Visions of Agony. So that's a torture card for the cost of 2. You look at your opponent's card and you discard the single most problematic card. So vonfersen has got an early game economy unit in the form of a Void Pirate. Looks like Seth is indeed playing that copy of Visions of Agony, and I would not be at all surprised to see Seth pick both of these copies of Snakebite Thug to get rid of. Visions of Agony is going to be 2, but it's going to allow him to remove these Snakebite Thugs, and if you're able to block off war early on economically, then you can kind of screw him over completely. So let's say, hypothetically, both of these copies of Snakebite Thug get ditched. That's only going to be a Void Pirate that Urien is going to have to deal with. 2 copies of Suppressive Fire aren't going to be able to do anything for war, apart from just afford him some shielding, and then Summary Execution is not the strongest signature card, so ever so often it's good, but you know, if you don't have any units to sacrifice, if you don't have any units to benefit from that strong point icon transformation, then that about sucks. To no one's surprise, Snakebite Thug is indeed going to be discarded. Seth has still got 5 resources. It's going to be up to vonfersen now. Is he going to play his other Snakebite Thug? He does decide to do that. He drops that off at planet number 2, but that's by no means the end of the world for Urien here. Maybe Urien is going to hold on to his second copy of Visions of Agony for later. In regard to what Seth has, he's got 2 Destructors, he's got a copy of Siren Zithlex. 2 command icons would be superb to trump 1 associated with like a Snakebite Thug or a Void Pirate. And then Seth's signature cards here, Urien's signature cards, he's got the Ichor Gauntlet, cost of 2. It basically allows you to replicate the effects of a torture card, like you could do a double Visions of Agony, albeit at the cost of exhausting your Warlord. But what you could do is you could drop the Ichor Gauntlet onto Urien, you could have him go to a planet, you could use his action prior to a combat turn to play a torture event, replicate its effects with new targets, and then Urien doesn't have a combat turn because he's exhausted, then he readies, and then because Ichor Gauntlet allows you to exhaust the Warlord and not the attachment itself, you could just keep replicating events indefinitely until you do eventually win that battle there. So, we've got Siren Zithlex at planet number 2, winning command at that location. We've got that Void Pirate played out to planet number 5. It looks like Broderick Worr is going to have to pass during his next action. And now it's going to be back to Seth. So vonfersen's got 2 resources. He's only positioned to win a couple of resources at planet number 1 and a possible 2 cards at planet number 5. I would not be shocked to see Urien Rakarth arrive at that planet, just because Urien by himself has got enough shielding to be able to beat Broderick Worr in a one-on-one battle. Seth knows that. Although the crap thing about this is if Urien does go to planet number 5, if Worr also goes to planet number 5, that's going to be a couple of cards drawn by Worr, because one command icon and a Warlord trumps just one Warlord. So let's go ahead and see where our players go. They both decide to go to planet number 2, and that means that things are going to be pretty interesting here. So it's going to be 2 resources and 2 cards won by vonfersen, and Seth instead is going to get 2 cards and 2 resources. So vonfersen has yet to draw his other couple of cards, but Seth gets a copy of Power from Pain. He also gets a Bloodied Reavers. And let us see here. So looks like vonfersen is doing the courteous thing and just checking for command struggles one by one, because clearly Urien is allied with Eldar. That means he may have superiority. We've got a promotion and a Mystic Warden for Broderick Worr. There's going to be a battle at planet number 1. That's going to be the opportunity here for this anxious infantry platoon to win and steal a resource from Seth. And then at Seth's disposal, he's got a copy of Rakarth's Experimentations, which isn't going to be tremendously useful, but he also has a copy of Power from Pain, which is going to result in the opponent having to sacrifice an army unit if able. That could be something along the lines of a Void Pirate here. So immediately prior to our resolving the battle at the first planet, looks like Seth calls out that he's got an action. Owing to the gigantic time zone difference between these two players, like I'm not sure what time exactly it is in Sweden. I think maybe it's the evening in Sweden. It's 6 a.m. for Seth. It's 4 a.m. for me. Seth calls that he does have an action at the first planet. He's going to be using another copy of Visions of Agony. This is going to drop him down to 0 resources. It drops vonfersen down to, well, sorry, it doesn't influence vonfersen's resources at all, but because Seth is going to be hitting 0 resources, this is going to be an opportunity for him to not only sneak in this card effect, but it also is going to block off the resource stealing battle ability of vonfersen. Seth decides to remove an army unit to make it all the easier for him to potentially deal with that which Broderick Worr can bring to bear. Now this anxious infantry platoon is going to be cramping Broderick Worr's movement the following round, and it's also going to continue to deny the number of army units that Broderick can put out onto the tabletop here. So now we've got a battle that's going to be ongoing at planet number 1. The Snakebite Thug with initiative delivers an attack directed towards Siren Zithlex. Whichever player ends up winning the battle at Karnath is going to have an opportunity to trigger the battle ability of any other planet, one of which could be Iridial, so I would not be surprised to see a large number of shields outgoing. Seth knows that his opponent has 4 shield cards in hand. Seth himself has got a 3-value shield and a 2 1-value shield cards. So Siren Zithlex takes 1 point of damage. We saw Rakarth's Experimentations discarded as a shield. The Snakebite Thug is going to be hit for a possible 2 from Siren Zithlex. We could see that shielded. Indeed we do. Thank you for making this early morning mathematics very easy for me, vonfersen. So that's going to be the Snakebite Thug just taking 1 point of damage. If Broderick tries to deliver an assault at Siren Zithlex, then we could see the Ichor Gauntlet discarded as a shield. That would outright prevent that effect. Urien Rakarth would be unable to end up killing the Snakebite Thug in response. We do see Broderick Worr exhaust to deliver a blow, but what exactly is it going to be directed toward? Okay, so he does decide to attack Siren Zithlex. We see that 3 shield value card discarded, and now what exactly are we going to see? Urien himself attacks the Snakebite Thug. I imagine we'll see a promotion discarded as shields. So let's say we do see that copy of promotion discarded. That's going to be 2 shield cards remaining. If all these units decide to stay, any army units that attempt to retreat will be destroyed by Broderick. The Snakebite Thug could attack. It will kill Siren Zithlex, but okay, no, again, the math is made very easy for me indeed this morning. That is the Snakebite Thug staying at that planet. That's going to be 3 1-value shield cards remaining for Broderick here. If Broderick decides to stay at this planet, that's going to be Siren Zithlex, presumably destroyed by Broderick Worr, but then Urien can hit Broderick. Let's say a shield card gets discarded, Broderick only takes 1 point of damage, then our Warlords will do an exchange. That'll be Urien with maybe 3 points of damage. That'll be another couple of points of damage on Broderick Worr, and unless I'm doing my mathematics incorrectly, I believe that does put Broderick winning this battle here. So let's say that the Siren is going to be killed because Seth doesn't have a shield card to use. So Broderick Worr is going to be here at 2 points of damage, so there's no shield card used. And now he can take 3 more hits for 1 apiece. That would put him at, okay, no, at the end of the combat round, Broderick Worr decides to retreat. That's going to be the Warlock Destructor move to Planum, and we could see vonfersen has got 1 green strongpoint icon at the moment. We could see that Warlock Destructor win at planet number 1. If planet number 2 is also going to be 1, that could be a couple of red icons to set Seth up to win at 4. Or if that's the case, we could also see Seth win 1, 3, and 4, and that would be the game for him as well. But we hit end turn. Planet number 5 is now going to be Barless, the forced random card discard planet. That does have 2 cards associated with it. Both of our players have gotten 4 resources and 2 cards. Note that vonfersen got some interesting stuff here. So he did get a Steel Legion Chimera at a green planet, of which there are currently 3. It's going to be a 3/4 that can't retreat or be routed, but it's only got 1 measly command icon, and it's only his one and only additional army unit. We also have a copy of Squigbomb in play. That's great against Forward Barracks or Archon's Palace, but at the moment there are no supports controlled by Urien. Urien now has only 3 resources, but he's got a couple of copies of Bloodied Reavers. He's got a Power from Pain, which for the cost of 1 could remove an army unit. We've now got Warlock Destructor with a Hypex Injector, so it could attack once, and then we could see Power from Pain played in order to ready it, so it could do a double swing. Broderick is going to want to be mindful of Iridial for healing since he's already taken 2 points of damage, and because planet number 1 is Karnath, that wildcard planet, we could easily see that trigger Planum to relocate this Warlock Destructor to whatever planet the enemy Warlord happens to be positioned at, and then the Warlock Destructor might be able to do, depending on what Seth does during the command phase, it could get an attack or 2 directed toward the enemy here. I wouldn't be shocked to see Broderick Worr go to planet number 1, just because, again, Iridial is going to be on the line. We do see Urien's Oubliette played, and this is interesting because even though we could see Squigbomb used to destroy this, this is going to be a card that immediately, like, you're immediately going to benefit somewhat from its effect here. So vonfersen shows his deck to IU Death. Let's see here. We're trying to do the settings so that I can see it. So why don't I just say, look at the top 1 card. So the top card here is going to be a Sanctioned Psyker. There we go. So great setting there. TYVM. Okay, So, top card of his deck is going to be Sanctioned Psyker. That is currently revealed to really everyone, I suppose, even passers-by. So even if we were to see Squig Bombing used at the next possible moment, that still does afford Seth a little bit of knowledge here. As an action, Seth can exhaust this support to discard the top card of each player's deck, or have each player draw one card. I would not be shocked necessarily to see Seth use an action to remove this Sanctioned Psyker, just because I think he really wants to kind of break the back of Broderick Worr's economy here. If only Seth had more resources, he'd be able to do much more. Note that we've got a Steel Legion Chimera. Having picked up that copy of Promotions, that means it's going to have 3 command icons. So now, even if Seth sends his Warlord to planet number 1, if Broderick does the same thing, that is going to be command at that planet 1 by Broderick Worr. At planet number 2, we've got a copy of Bloodied Reavers. In the presence of a Warlord, it attacks for 4, and it's got a command icon. So we'll have to see what occurs here at Planet 1. Let's try and think, what is the best location for Urien? Urien's going to want to go to maybe Planet number 4 to kill this Void Pirate. The same thing goes for Planet number 5 to get that card bonus and the Great Battle ability. If Urien goes to Planet number 1, okay, so between Planet 1 and Planet 2, Urien can rely on enough resources to play his Power from Pain, unless, I suppose if Broderick and Urien both go to planet number 1 and then nobody goes to planet number 2, that still will be an opportunity for Urien to get some resources, and if that's the case, he'll be able to do a double attack with initiative to clear out the Steel Legion Chimera here, and it's possible that Seth could win the battle at the first planet, I think. At least that's my preliminary assessment. We see Urien's Oubliette used, and that's going to be the discard of the top card of both players' decks. Urien ditches a copy of Searing Brand, so it's just worth noting that he's going to be losing 1/2 shield value card were he to draw through a large volume of cards. No use crying over kind of Schrodinger's card here. This could have been anything discarded by Seth, and it affords him a little bit of additional information here. vonfersen indicates he's not sure how to play against Urien, and I certainly cannot fault the fellow, although he's certainly playing one of our, cream of the crop, top-tier warlords here. Looks like both players are going to go to planet number, planet number 5 for Broderick Worr, so he's going to be dropping off this anxious infantry platoon at a planet that may well end up being entirely irrelevant to combat, but one command icon could certainly win a large amount of economy for Broderick Worr here. But what's interesting to note, we saw a copy of Sanctioned Psyker, I think, discarded, off the top of vonfersen's deck, even though I think he erroneously placed that at the bottom of his discard pile. So vonfersen got 4 cards, and Seth got 1 card and 3 resources. So Seth was kind of in desperate need of resources, but vonfersen was in desperate need of army units, and now it looks like if Seth makes any mistakes at all, Broderick Worr is definitely going to be able to come back on this one, because he not only got 2 command icon units, but he got a Rattling Deadeye, a 1-cost, 1 command icon dude, and an anxious infantry platoon is, of course, a complete nightmare to deal with. So, at planet number 1, we've got this Warlock Destructor that's attacking for 3 against the Steel Legion Chimera. And what is very interesting to note about this is the instant that Steel Legion Chimera is destroyed, and we've only got 1 shield value cards remaining, so on Urien's opportunity to swing, that's going to be this Steel Legion Chimera being destroyed, we could see... So what exactly are we going to see here? What we could do is we could have Urien... Urien is deciding to attack. I was going to say we could see Urien retreat, then with initiative the Warlock Destructor could kill the Steel Legion Chimera. then the Warlock Destructor would ready. It could win this battle at Karnath. It could trigger Planum. It could relocate itself to Barlas to attack off initiative against Broderick Worr, and it might be able to even bloody that Warlord or kill the Anxious Infantry platoon with the assistance of Power from Pain. But that is not the case. Urien takes a swing, and I guess why was I even going through such complicated stuff in my mind here? So the Steel Legion Chimera is destroyed. Our units come to the end of a combat round. They ready. The planet is captured. Planum triggers. That's going to be the Warlock Destructor relocated to Farron. Seth, it looks like he's going to try to pick up a second material icon. He's not going to try to... well, what is he trying to do? He's not trying to threaten this planet. Seth didn't have an adequate number of shield cards to get anything done at this planet. He could have discarded Power from Pain, and then he could have attacked for 3 once. If Seth would have had many more shield cards in hand, he could have had his unit hang out at this planet, attack Broderick Worr multiple times, maybe even bloody Broderick Worr, and maybe even kill off that Anxious Infantry platoon, but unfortunately that was, of course, not the case. We go through another HQ phase after seeing the forced random card discard of Barlas result in the discard of a Warlock Destructor. Our new 5th planet, final planet of the game, is going to be Atrox Prime, the Bombardment planet. Our new 1st planet is going to be Farron, and because both players have gotten 4 resources and 2 cards, looks like Seth is at 6 resources, 5 cards, and vonfersen is at 9 resources and 9 cards. And let's see here. So Seth says that his opponent has got way too much stuff, and if he thinks it's looking bad now, it's about to get very bad indeed. It's going to be up to our Dark Eldar player to try to win the game at to win planet number 1 and then win the game here at planet number 3, but it's looking like it's going to be rather difficult for him to do that just because planet number 3 is going to be a green planet in addition to red, and wouldn't you know it, each of these copies of Rattling Deadeye is going to be able to attack at ranged for 2. The Anxious Infantry platoon can attack for 4. These 2 copies of Iron Guard Recruits are going to result in just an ability for Broderick to just cripple the economy of our Dark Eldar player, and Mystic Warden is going to be able to fight as a free 3/2 at planet number 3. So I definitely do not favor Seth's odds, even though he's managed to pilot all the way to top 8. Playing as Urien Rakarth, he may have been much safer playing with his tried and true Ragnar, or I suppose nowadays Captain Cato Sicarius, or of course, he could have gone all the way to the dark side and playing with, I think, our still highest win rate Warlord Packmaster Kith. Although she isn't exactly favored against Broderick Worr, it's generally a pretty damn decent matchup here. So the top card of Broderick's deck was, up until a moment ago, a copy of Escalation Shrine Guard. Now it's going to be a copy of Talarn Raiders, which isn't too dissimilar. At planet number 1, we've got a copy of Rattling Deadeye. We've also got a copy of Mystic Warden, and it's interesting, I suppose, that Broderick is attempting to contest this planet to the extent that he is. It's now going to be a 2/2 unit and a 1/1 unit at this planet. The players are not tied in regard to command icons. At planet number 2, we've got a Bloodied Reavers, which is going to be relocatable, and if Broderick were to threaten that planet himself, it's going to be a 4 attack value unit. We've got a second Rattling Deadeye here at planet number 1. Seth had to pay an additional resource to save his Warlock Destructor, and I suppose this is as good a time as any for a Squigbomb, although we may want Seth to pass prior to that occurring. We've got an Anxious Infantry platoon played to planet number 2. We've got 2 command icons versus 2 command icons at planet number 1, and I feel like this is where things start to suddenly go downhill for our underloved, up until this point in the tournament, having performed spectacularly Dark Eldar faction Warlord. So we've got a Warlock Destructor at 1, but we've now got 2 outgoing 1-value ranged attacks that could destroy it. And yes, I think Seth is starting to accept the reality of the situation here, is that our AM player is starting to establish this vice grip. against him in both a combat and economic sense. So vonfersen has still got enough resources for Squigbomben and Iron Guard recruits. If it were me, I'd use Squigbomben probably after Seth passes to destroy this Archon's Palace, just so that my opponent cannot shut off my card draw, and if I can establish a healthy influx of cards, then as Broderick Worr, I can essentially guarantee a large volume of affordable units that generally do possess command icons. And if you win economy, Broderick has got such high efficiency units. That's not something you can really say for poor Urien, and that could just be absolutely devastating there. So I suppose if Seth ends up winning command at Planet 1, or I'm sorry, if Seth ends up winning planet number 1, that will be 2 red icons in his victory display, but that's going to be really difficult for him to win at planet number 3. If vonfersen, he doesn't even have to win planet number 1. All he's going to have to do is win at planet 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, and that'll be his game. Squigbomben blows up that Archon's Palace after Seth passes. We've also got a copy of Iron Guard recruits at planet number 2, 3 command icons versus 1, and it's going to be able to attack as a 2/2. Where exactly is Urien going to go? Urien could go to planet number 5 and blast the HQ of our AM player. Looks like Urien is going to be going to planet number 4 and probably just retreating from that planet, but then that's going to be a card that he's going to be forced to randomly discard. I think Urien's thought process here was to try to shut off his opponent's ability to win command. We see Seth get 2 cards, no resources, and then vonfersen gets 3 cards and 1 resource, and one of which is a card that Urien Rakarth simply cannot deal with. Troop Transport being able to do 2 2/2 Soldier Trade Guardsman tokens at a green planet, that is just... there is nothing that Urien can do to attempt to deal with that amount of damage. We've got a battle at planet number 1. That's going to be initiative and ranged units in the possession of Broderick Worr here. Broderick got another copy of Summary Execution, which he probably isn't going to need, seeing as how the next 3 planets in line are all green. We've got a 2 shield value card and 3 1 shield value cards for Seth. We've got a Rattling Deadeye taking a shot at ranged against this Warlock Destructor. The Warlock Destructor does take a point of damage. It's got Hypex Injector. Urien could do Rakarth's Experimentations for 0, Power from Pain for 1, but certainly Broderick's got a large number of units to choose to discard. Rattling Deadeye attacks the Warlock Destructor. It does so for 1. We see a promotion discarded, so that's dropped down to 0. The Mystic Warden is going to be attacking again. That is going to be Suffering discarded, and now we could see the Warlock Destructor attack, kill the Mystic Warden because we don't have any 3-value shield cards. So we could say dead Mystic Warden, then Rakarth's Experimentations to ready it, and then we could see 2 dead Rattling Deadeyes, and then we could see a routed copy of Void Pirate. That would be command 1 at 1 less planet the following round for Broderick, but if he sends his Warlord to that planet, he might be able to get that card bonus regardless. So things are certainly looking like they're getting pretty difficult pretty quick for Seth, even though he was able to dump a lot of cards into winning the battle at this planet. So it's all going to be up to, is Seth going to be able to reinforce planet number 3 heavily enough to be able to win the game, or is that where his back is going to be absolutely broken? And something in my woefully pessimistic heart tells me that Seth is not going to be able to do it, but let's see what exactly happens here. Looks like we do not see Rakarth's Experimentations used. That's going to be the Rattling Deadeye killing off that Warlock Destructor. Seth probably didn't want to invest that resource in it anyways, so he's just saving as many resources as is possible, saving as many shield cards and torture events in hand as is possible. Farron's battle ability removes the Void Pirate from that planet. It's his only eligible routing target. That is 2 red material icons in Seth's victory display, and now we're going to see battle break out at planet number 2. On initiative, Broderick is going to be able to attack with his Anxious Infantry platoon for 4. We could only see that decreased down to 3, but that's still going to be an adequate number to destroy these bloodied Reavers here. So this Warlord friend is looking like it's going to be rather effectively sniped off, and I suppose vonfersen, even if he attacked for 4, a 2-value shield card would still result in the bloodied Reavers being killed, but if he was only able to conjure up, say, an attack value of 3, and he was still worried about a 2-value shield card, he would be able to do something like a suppressive fire to act as insurance that he'd be able to deal with this unit. So Planum is on the line. I think if it were me, the instant I won it, I'd move this Anxious Infantry platoon to planet number 2, if not planet number 3, just to verify that Urien isn't going to be able to win at that planet. But considering that Iridial is my opponent's victory condition, I think I'd be quite likely to relocate the unit to that planet. Looks like that is not the case. It's going to be Iron Guard recruits moved to planet number 3 just to ensure that Urien's not going to be able to win the battle at that planet. Urien has only got 2 1-value shield cards in hand, so Urien is not going to be able to kill off either of these units with one swing. He retreats. That's going to be a forced random card discard, and if it's the Clavex War Leader, that may as well have been GG right there, but it is not. It's going to be Rakarth's Experimentations randomly discarded. That's going to bring us to the HQ phase, and that is 4 resources and 2 cards for each of our players here. So we continue to play with the top card of our Broderick Worr player's deck exposed. That's going to be a copy of Ammo Depot. Seth is sitting at 6 resources, 4 cards. vonfersen is 6 resources and 8 cards. Both players are going to end up drawing a card from Urien's Oubliette. Ammo Depot is certainly doing a whole lot of nothing for vonfersen, who's now got 9 cards in hand. The threshold there is 3 or lower. So Seth has got Bloodied Reavers, he's got Twisted Racks, he's also got a copy of Clavex War Leader. It's going to be up to him to heavily reinforce this planet number 2 and try to win the game here. Note that Seth is going to have to invest 2 resources in Bloodied Reavers just to get a possible 4/2 attacker. He plays that to planet number 1. He does naturally possess initiative. He's going to be able to relocate units from planet number 1 to planet number 2 on the off chance that he ends up winning that one. But wouldn't you know it, Troop Transport is just going to be an incredibly powerful card because like if Urien shows up at planet number 2, surprise, 2 guardsman tokens to deal with at that planet. God forbid vonfersen get another copy of Troop Transport, but that might be able to allow him the opportunity to dump 2 instances of 2 guardsman tokens for a total of 4 tokens that are 2/2s at the victory condition planet for Seth here. Seth has passed on his action inexplicably. We see a copy of Ammo Depot, so maybe vonfersen is going to go hot and heavy with the shield cards indeed. But we've got a Rogue Trader at planet number 4, so he's potentially going to win a couple of resources and a card just from that play alone. Seth, with his 4 resources, maybe he's hoping to use a Clavex War Leader at planet number 1. I'm not exactly sure where Broderick Worr is going to be going. Maybe it's planet number 2, maybe it's not. We do see an Iron Guard recruits played to planet number 1, so it's going to be a 2/2, a possible 3/2 in the presence of a Warlord, and a 4/3 all at that planet. But without the assistance of a Warlord at its planet, this Bloodied Reavers is a paltry 2/2, and Clavex War Leader could still swing this battle in Seth's favor. Seth does have initiative, so let's see what exactly is going to be occurring. Seth sends Urien to planet number 4. So he's going to deny a card and 2 resources, and he's going to be able to kill this Rogue Trader, and he's going to be able to bombard whichever of these units survive at planet number 1. Seth gets another couple, Seth ends up getting 1 card and 1 resource, so he gets another copy of Power from Pain. He's now got a trio thereof, but if he plays this at our like Final Battle Planet, our AM player can just pick woefully irrelevant units to be sacrificed, so that is no big deal at all. Vonfersen gets 5 cards and 1 resource, and that is a lot of doom and gloom here for poor Urien. Commissarial Bolt Pistol could bring Broderick to an attack value of 3. If an army unit he controls at his planet leaves play, it's 1 damage to a target army unit, like an enemy army unit under normal situations. But it's also a 3-value shield card, which could allow War to stomach a large volume of incoming attacks at our final planet. And then that would direct fire away from his other units, or we could just see a 3-value shield card be powerful, like go figure. Those are always useful. And then that's just going to be a lot of additional army units for our AM player, including a free Mystic Warden, a copy of Staging Grounds, so a lot of fantastic stuff here. We've got that battle taking place at planet number 1. Bloodied Reavers swings. They may be able to... well, presumably they are going to be able to deal a damage, 2 points of, well, at least a point of damage to the Anxious Infantry Platoon. If they are, we could see Clavex Warleader dropped into play. That could be the Iron Guard recruits damaging the Clavex Warleader. Like, let's say under ideal circumstances, vonfersen has this unit wounded. Clavex Warleader could drop into play, kill it off, then this could attack for 2, hit the Clavex Warleader, but we could also see suppressive fire, exhaust a Warleader, or also a distinct possibility, I was thinking, Commissarial Bolt Pistol prevents all of the damage that would have gone to the Anxious Infantry Platoon there. So that means that Clavex Warleader is going to be unable to use its reaction to kill that unit. Seth is, of course, above 3 resources, so he's at that danger threshold for that unit. And now, what exactly are we going to see? It's going to be our AM player's opportunity to deliver an attack. The Anxious Infantry Platoon is going to be outright killing the Bloodied Reavers. No, it looks like we've got our Tallarn Raiders attacking for a paltry 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and correct a rules mistake, is the only reason that I'm actually altering that. I don't want to interfere with the outcome of this game, so the Tallarn Raiders there are only attacking for 1. I don't want to do anything like remind our players to miss a trigger or anything along those lines, but Tallarn Raiders, outside of the presence of a Warlord, is only attacking for a mere 1. So vonfersen is going to do a little bit of a takesy-backsy here. Instead, it's going to be the Iron Guard recruits attacking for 2, and then that would have allowed him the opportunity. If we'd have seen a Clavex Warleader, he could have used suppressive fire with the Tallarn Raiders. Again, I don't mean to interfere with this game. I just want to make sure that there's no misinterpretation of the rules. So, Planum is going to result in Anxious Infantry Platoon being shifted over to planet number 2, and that is going to spell disaster for Seth's possibilities of winning this game. We are going to see a battle break out at current planet number 2. That'll be... wait. Okay. So looks like we're actually seeing a change of plans here. That's going to be the Anxious Infantry Platoon shifted from planet number 3 to planet number 2 instead. So even though this platoon is going to take a point of damage, and all these other units are going to be taking a point of damage from Urien Rakarth, it's still going to be another unit that War will be delivering to this planet, as opposed to having this Anxious Infantry Platoon stranded at our current planet number 3. So, Iridial processes, that's going to be 2 points of damage removed from Broderick Worr, and now we're going to see battle resolve here. This is a rogue trader killed by Urien. We're going to come to the end of a combat round, and that is going to be all these units readying, and now Aatrox Prime is going to resolve, and that'll be 4 damaged units in the HQ of Broderick. It's a bit of a shame we don't see the Ichor Gauntlet replicating 3 copies of Power from Pain to sacrifice 6 army units, because it's something like that that Urien would need to be able to come back and potentially win this one. But the economic disparity is pretty strong between these two players. Our AM player is set up quite nicely to be able to win the command struggle at planets 1 and 2, and that is a large volume of cards coming in for Broderick, and I can't really say the same for Urien, so Urien is going to want to show up at planet number 1 just because he's going to need as many bodies at that planet as is possible. Our AM player does discard a copy of Summary Execution to block a point of damage on that Anxious Infantry platoon. Unfortunately, again, we see that sent to the bottom of the discard pile instead of the top. We go through another HQ phase. That's 4 resources and 2 cards for each player. Off initiative, Urien gets a copy of Baleful Mandrake and a copy of Incubus Warrior. We see a Snakebite Thug played to planet number 1, and we've also got a copy of Preemptive Barrage, having been drawn by Broderick Worr at a green planet. So we could see 2 2/2s and a 4/3 attack at range to just obliterate poor Urien. We see the Oubliette used, and both players discard a card. That's going to be, draw a card. So that's going to be a Slith Mercenary drawn by Urien. It's going to be a copy of Sanctioned Psyker drawn by vonfersen. We've got a Mystic Warden, planet number 1, and clearly I do not favor Seth's odds for this one. We do see a Baleful Mandrake played, but with initiative, Anxious Infantry platoon can attack at range for 4. Seth is fresh out of 3 value shield cards. That means that's going to be a dead Baleful Mandrake, so that's an expensive 3 resources essentially wasted, though Seth probably doesn't know it. Or maybe he does, because he's not foolish enough to think that his opponent hasn't drawn a copy of Preemptive Barrage with only 18 cards remaining in his deck. We've got a Escalation Shrine Guard also played to planet number 1, and now Seth is only really going to be able to play this Incubus Warrior if he wants to leave enough resources open for Klavex Warleader. Seth could also do a copy of Twisted Racks, so he can discard torture cards in order to repeatedly ready that unit, but with all those outgoing, presumably ranged attacks, that's definitely going to be enough to mow down this poor Twisted Racks in relatively short order, so I would not be terribly surprised to see that be unable to survive. Our AM player gets another copy of Squig Bombin. I suppose for anyone watching this video, I would be curious to see how effective Archon's Palace would have been by now had it been left on the tabletop unmolested. I suppose it's entirely possible it could have maybe shut off a total of 6 cards or something along those lines. And it looks like Seth is maybe just admitting defeat, because at this point he drops an Incubus Warrior at planet number 2 just to block off his opponent from being able to win command at that planet. Let's see here. vonfersen's victory condition is indeed going to be planet number 1. He's going to be able to win through green strongpoint type icons. Seth is going to be able to win through red material type icons, is what I would be saying if Seth stood even a sliver of a chance of being able to win this one. But the fact of the matter is that Seth is just purely being outclassed at this planet. Seth drops a copy of Slith Mercenary at planet number 2, and maybe he is just desperate to attempt to win command at that planet and earn himself a couple of cards in the form of shields or something, because it's not looking like he's got any realistic probability of being able to win at this planet. We've got the Tallarn Raiders. Like Broderick Worr, first of all, is going to be showing up at this planet. We've got 2 troop transport that can create 2 tokens. I grant you there's no, a big problem here is, like, Seth isn't allied with Chaos. He doesn't have access to Warp Storm or anything along those lines. So what is Urien going to do? Urien shows up at this planet. Command would be won by, so that'll be a couple of cards for Broderick. This planet, that'll be a couple of cards for Urien, a card and a resource for Urien, but it could be Preemptive Barrage, the Anxious Infantry platoon is killed, Mystic Warden could attack for 3, the Escalation Shrine Guard could attack for 3, that could be a practically bloodied Urien, and then on initiative, vonfersen could attack with a Snakebite Thug for 3, and that could well be Urien removed from that planet. We could see a Clavax War Leader drop in, kill a Iron Guard recruits or something, but it's looking at the, moment to, make or break this game, I guess. It's looking like Seth is about to be soundly trounced. Both Warlords arrive at planet number 1. We've got a copy of Staging Ground in play. That is going to be 2 cards at planet 1 for Broderick, and that's going to be 3 cards and a resource for Seth. So let's see if this paid off, putting 2 combat-capable units at planet number 2 just to win a couple of cards. He did get a 2-value shield card and a modified 0-cost torture event, 1 shield value there, but it is not going to be enough, spoiler alert. I guess he could kill that copy of Anxious Infantry Platoon with the Searing Brand, but his opponent can choose and discard 2 cards to cancel that effect, and of course 7 cards in hand means, why wouldn't you do that? So, Seth says, what I wouldn't give for a Hypex, and, understatement of the century here, preemptive barrage, and what 3 AM faction units is that going to be triggering? Triggering on or targeting, yep, that is going to be that. Seth calls out the GG, so that is going to be a good game, well played right there, so congratulations to vonfersen. He's passed through the top 8, passed through the fires of Seth Rosen's masterfully played Urien Rakarth. It was a great run while it lasted, but vonfersen advances to the top 4 of the spring 2016 season of the Black Crusade with Broderick Worr, and unfortunately, Urien Rakarth, in the moment of truth in the top 8, ends up being eliminated from the tournament. So, out of 187 entrants, Seth made it through 6 consecutive rounds of Swiss. He made the top cut of 32. He made it to the top 16, to the top 8. But in the end, even, with his caliber of skill, Urien, the people's champion, was unable to win this one. So, Anxious Infantry Platoon could have killed Baleful Mandrake. The other units could have almost bloodied Urien, and then on initiative, let's just call it a bloodied Urien Rakarth, and that would have been the game right there. So again, congratulations to vonfersen, and to you, my dear viewers, thank you very much for watching. So, as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, or if you are already subscribed, as ever, you're encouraged to share this video, because the more people end up being exposed to Conquest, the more individuals may give this game a try, enjoy what they experience, join our community, and the bigger we are in number, the greater message we send to Fantasy Flight Games, telling them to continue to develop this fantastic product. If at any point you want to get in touch with me, I would encourage you to do so, be it on Facebook or on Twitter, and if you ever have even the barest modicum of inclination to help support the Hive Tyrant, I would be deeply appreciative and humbled were you to donate as little as $1 a month to my Patreon. So, once again, thank you very much for watching, and as always, be sure to check back in again soon for much more Conquest LCG content to come.